So this is going to be 2.3a. We're going to talk about the product rule for calculus. So what we've done so far is we've only done derivatives. We've done all basic derivatives using the power rule, meaning that we did square roots, we did fractional powers, which is the same thing as square roots, we did negative powers. Everything had to do with the with just doing the power rule. Now, what we're getting into is what happens when it's not just a simple power? What happens when we say multiply things together? Or what happens when we divide things? So the product rule is going to talk about how do we take the derivative of a function multiplied by another function. So it's just easier to get right into the example here. But basically what we're looking at here is we have two things that are being multiplied by each other. This would be what we consider our first function, and this would be considered what our second function is. And they are being multiplied by each other. It's a product. So what the rule for derivative of a product is, it's real simple. It's just really easy for us to forget and make mistakes on it. It will always be one function times the derivative of the other plus the other function times the derivative of the other. So basically what we'll be doing is we're basically saying this function times the derivative of the second plus the derivative of the first times the original second. So basically what we can do is we can identify each of these as being, say, one of these can be f and the other one will be g. And what we're going to do is we're literally going to say we want f prime of x here will be equal to f times g prime plus f prime times g. So what we'll do is we will take the derivative. We'll take the derivative of these individually. So we know what our f is, we know what our g is. We can do our f prime as being 3 minus 4x. Our g prime is equal to 4, because the derivative of 5 plus 4x is just 4. So then we literally just write this out as our formula. It's going to be f times g prime, so that means we have 3x minus 2x squared times 3 minus 4, whoops, that's not right, sorry, times g prime, so our g prime is 4, plus, and then we do our f prime, which is 3 minus 4x, multiplied by our g, which is 5 plus 4x. And then from there we want to simplify. So we're going to multiply the 4 through, so we get 12x minus 8x squared, plus, and then we have to FOIL this, so we have 15 plus 12x minus 20x, and then minus 16x squared. Then we want to combine all of our like terms. So negative 8x squared, negative 16x squared is negative 24x squared. Combine all of our x's. 12 is 24 minus 20 is a positive 4x. And then we still have our plus 15. So this is the derivative of this function up here. Now, it is possible, and you could go through this and you could FOIL this out first and then do the derivative the normal way using the power rule. It is absolutely okay for you to do that. I'm just trying to illustrate to you what the product rule looks like and how we will use it. Okay, so let's do another example. Let's do it with trig function. So here, it's similar to what you guys have seen before with the trig functions, but notice we have 2x. So this is like saying 2x times the sine of x. Now, before, we would say 2 sine of x, and then we would just say that the derivative is 2 cosine of x. And that's fine. But you still could have done the product rule with this, and you would still get 2 cosine of x. It's still a product of two things. It's just that we don't need to do it when it's a constant like that. Here, it's not a constant. So we actually have to identify this is going to be our f, this is going to be our g. Our f prime is going to be 2. Our g prime is going to be the cosine of x. So what we do is we can put this into our formula. Again, we're going to do f times g prime, so it's going to be 2x times the cosine of x plus, and now we do our g, we do our g times our f prime, So 2 times the sine of x. So we just end up with 2x cosine of x plus 2 sine of x. And that's it. So don't make this too complicated. It literally is just following a formula. It's the derivative of one times the other plus the derivative of the other times the other. So it's like you're basically doing a cross here. It's always going to be f and g combined in some point, but just remember one will be the original times the derivative, and the other one will be the original times the other derivative. And it's just following a formula. The derivatives are found the exact same way. We're still using all the power rules and everything we've learned up until this point to do this. We're just combining them into one formula, remembering that it's a plus in between. Okay, so down here you have one that you can do on your own. Why don't you try that, and when you're ready, why don't you hit play and see if you get the right answer. Okay, so here, again, real simple. Identify your f and your g, your two separate functions here. There's our f, there's our g, the derivatives of each, and then we're writing it out. Now, if you got to this point right here, that's fine. I would be okay with that. That is still a valid answer there. All I did below this is multiply through. So I did 3x squared times negative sine x, negative 2x times sine x, and then did 6x times cosine of x and negative 2 times cosine of x to just simplify it out that way, just to write it out so you can see all the different terms. If you were to leave it like this, I would be okay with that. I don't have an issue there. I just wanted to show you both ways so you could see that. So hopefully this makes sense. If you have questions, definitely let me know when you come to class, and don't forget to take your Edmodo quiz if that has been assigned. So I will see you in class.